Alright, let's just do some sound checks. Seems like my voice is coming through all right. Whoop! Let's just double check these channels. Yep, all good. All good. We're live on there. Yes, yes, yes. Perfecto. Alright, cool. Well, let's get our first, well, I say first, yes. Let's get our first Teach It session underway. So a Teach It session is basically where every week we're going to share a little bit of knowledge with you at Livelysium for Gamers. Now this could be myself, Steve Pirateer, teaching you something. It could be a member of our community teaching you something. Or it could even be an external guest coming to teach you something. So there's always going to be something different happening each time. And today, I'm actually just going to be talking about how we lead our achievement runs for our World of Warcraft events. Because this is something that has been asked before, and so I figured we'd turn it into a stream, which we'll then make into a video. So let's dive right into it to begin with. And as you can see, I'm actually on Wowhead already, because there are three things that we always begin with before we plan an achievement run, and that is to actually look up what we're going to be running. It's very important when it comes to these kind of events to prepare, because the more prepared you are, the easier the achievements are to do, and the more you know about the fights and what's to come, then the smoother the actual run will go. So for the purpose of today, I'm going to be looking at the Glory Achievement Run for the Fireland Raider. So I'll start on Wowhead and just talk about how I would begin. First of all, I go into the search bar and just type in Glory of the Fireland Raider. And there you go. You can see right at the top here, we've got that achievement pop up here. Just make sure that the stream is showing this. Yes, we are. Beautiful. So this is where I would always come to begin with, because I want to get an idea of what the achievements have. And the best way to do that is to actually look at everybody else's experience already. The great thing about Wowhead is when you click on certain achievements, even just in the comments for this particular dungeon and raid, you'll get a lot of feedback from people that have already made guides on how to do it, or they've put problems that they've encountered. And it's a great way just to get that knowledge right from the beginning before you try and do anything else. So let's have a look at the comments to begin with. I guarantee there's a guide in there. So this is just a comment. Just a comment. This is someone saying about their setups for each of the achievements. Okay, there's no immediate guides that I can see at the beginning. So now what I'll do is I'll actually go into the individual achievements. Let's say for the Death from Above. And you can see here that hopefully there is a little guide. So here we go. This is how someone did the achievement. They engaged the boss. They said that the boss goes up, some spiders come down. They killed one of them so that they can jump on its web and go up. They nuke the boss until it comes down. And then if you fell down and the boss is up, kill another spider to go up. And then again, final phase, when the boss goes to the ground, only damage her, not the ads. So it's saying avoid splash or AoE damage. So this is my first port of call. I'll come to Wowhead, I'll read some of these comments, I'll look at the achievement and think, okay, is this complex? Do I need to know more information? If I feel like I do, my next port of call is to actually go into World of Warcraft and use an add-on that I've already installed. So let me show you that one quick. So here we are. So I'm now in WoW, and the add-on that we use to run these events, which is a great add-on, you can download it through your Curse client or whichever add-on provider you use, is this Instance Achievement Tracker. Now if I open it up, it's already come up with this Firelands achievement. But if I just click on Firelands before I enter, you can see all of the achievements that are within this raid, and it tells me exactly what they are if I put my mouse over them, and it even tells me what the tactics are. So this is a simplified version of what you need to do for each of these achievements. So let's read the same achievement that we were just looking at on the Wowhead, which was the Death from Above. So Death from Above, here we go. So it says, at max level, you can simply just kill the boss to get the achievement. So now I have two pieces of information, effectively. One of them saying to kill a spider and climb up the web to kill the boss. Another one saying just to kill the boss straight away. So with these two pieces of information, I've got to make a decision. Especially as a raid leader and leading achievement runs, I need to decide what is the best way for my community to be able to get this achievement. Now I know for a fact that when it comes to old raids and old dungeons and the old achievements, a lot of the time, if your group members or your raid members do not get a hit on the boss, they won't get the achievement if it dies. So with that piece of knowledge in mind, this description here where it says at max level you can just kill the boss to get the achievement kind of makes me think I need to adjust it slightly to make sure. So if I've got a raid of 30 people doing this at one time, I may need to use a combination of this and also the comments on Wowhead. If I'm unsure on the fight itself, another tool I can use just to get all my information up in front of me is the adventure guide. Now if I go to the adventure guide, I'm doing a raid, so I click on raids and go down to the, I believe this was Cataclysm, and there we are, the Firelands. So now this is just giving me not the achievements, but the actual bosses themselves. So for the achievement that I mentioned, it's this boss here, and this gives me an overview of what the boss will actually do. And if you read it through the abilities, you can actually see here it says at the beginning of the fight, the boss will retreat to the top of the web at the beginning of the encounter. Now if you remember what Wowhead said, if we go back to it, you can see here that it's saying that the boss will go up, which means that we might not be able to just kill the boss straight away. We might actually have to go up the web. So now I've got a bit of a plan in my head. I understand how this fight's going to go. I understand what the achievement is, and I understand kind of what I'm going to have to do with my group. So from this kind of information now, my plan would be, when it comes to this boss, to get all of the party members as close to the boss as possible, let everyone just do an auto attack on the boss to make sure I cover everyone hitting the boss, and then I would do what Wowhead says with killing one of the spiders, sending one person up, attacking the boss, and then the boss is going to come down, and then when it comes down, everyone can just kill it at the bottom, if it doesn't die straight away during the auto attack. So I'm adjusting my methodology based on these three pieces of information. Now, as well as using these to get an understanding of how to do the actual achievements, I need to get an idea of what the achievement actually requires. So I know how to do the achievement now, but what does it actually require? Now we've looked at the Wowhead comments, we've looked at the IAT tracker, and we've looked at the dungeon guide, and that's enabled us to compile some notes about a boss fight. But who do I need to have in the group for this raid? So if I go back to my Wowhead, I've had a look at one achievement. This one's relatively simple. I know that we just need to kill the boss. But what about the other ones? Let's open up Not an Ambi-Turner. So this one again is defeating a boss without him causing to turn left. Now if I wasn't sure about this fight, I could look the boss up in, again, the IAT tracker. I could also look it up in the dungeon journal. But because I have a bit of a knowledge of this raid already, I know that this fight is all on the ground. We just need to attack the boss. So again, that one's fine. Don't need to worry about any special requirements. I'll go to my next one. Do a barrel roll. Now this one here, is having everybody kill the boss without getting hit. Again, at this kind of level, everyone can just hit the boss. So we're using a combination of my own knowledge of the fights, as well as the knowledge from Wowhead and the IAT tracker and the dungeon journal. So there's 3 achievements that we don't need to worry about. But then we come to this one, the bucket list. Oh no, this one's fine as well. This is going to different locations, so we're just bringing a boss around. But this is important because it tells me that I don't want to kill this boss straight away. So while some fights are just kill, this one particular is to take a boss and taunt the boss to different areas. So then in my mind, in using the knowledge that I've gathered, I can think, okay, so I'm going to want to clear Benthixler. I'm going to want to clear the Path of Corruption. I want to clear the Shatterstone, the Flame Breach, the Ridge of the Ancient Flame. I want to make sure that these are all empty of ads, so we can just focus on this boss. And then I would look up this boss. And if I looked up this boss in the dungeon journal, if we go back to it, which is Shanox, we can see here that Shanox patrols with 2 dogs. Okay, so we know that there's going to be 3 ads. And I can actually look at these abilities as well. And here we go. Not the limb rip. Face rage. So one of these dogs does an ability that's going to stun a member of the party. So again, something to be aware of. If a member's stunned, then they're not going to be able to move, are they? So if they're the tank at the time, then they're going to have to. It's going to take them a little bit longer to get there. They might even have to kill some of these dogs. But then we know that that will enrage the boss because we have the dungeon journal to tell us that. So let's have a look at another achievement that I know requires some more people. So we come across this one, which is only the penitent. Activate both of Fanduel's flames at once in Firelands without any raid member getting hit by Kneel to the Flame. Now at the start, this is a very unobvious achievement to do. We don't know what Fanduel's flames are to begin with, but we know that no one can get hit by Kneel to the Flame. So let's look at some comments. You can see there's 91 comments here. So this is obviously a very challenging achievement to do because there's a lot of feedback. Okay. So I'm reading this achievement, but again, from my own knowledge of doing this before, I know that this is actually wrong. You need more than 2 people, you need 3. You need 3 on each side. And I can also see that this is from patch 4.32, which is a long time away. So if I want to filter and look at something that's a little bit more relevant, I can go to 9.5. Nothing there, and I can just work my way back until I find a guide that's useful for where I am now. Just trying to find a comment that mentions about it. Okay, actually, so this is great because this is a piece of my knowledge that I didn't know. So it actually says here that as of 8.25, it no longer requires 6 people, which is when we were doing it, you do need 6 people. So now you can do it with 2 people, which again makes it easier. It doesn't give me information on how to actually do the achievement though, from what I've gathered so far. So now let's look at the IAT tracker. And if we open it up onto the boss, it doesn't have any information here because of it probably changing. So now we're going to have to go to the Dungeon Adventure Guide just to have a look at this boss to see if it mentions anything. It doesn't, so I would have to do more research on this, obviously. But again, from my own knowledge, The Fanduel's flames are these two little orbs that continually send out, are these two little orbs nearby to the boss. And before you engage the boss is doing this big AoE cast that comes right across the platform. So you have to get to the boss and pull it. You have to activate these two orbs by walking and kneeling, and that's how you do this achievement. But again, I would only have known this from research beforehand and even trying it out. So that kind of brings me to my next thing, which is about the minimum requirements needed. So we know that we needed at least 2 people now for one of these achievements. The rest of the achievements, we don't need anything particular special. But we're thinking about item level. If we've got a raid of 30 people, and this content is from Cataclysm, the current content sits at level 60. We don't really need an item level for this one, so anyone can come as long as they have a character that is probably about, I'd say 40 or above. The character prerequisites, again, there aren't any for this particular achievement, but if I needed a character for the N'Zoth fight in Ny'alotha, as an example, they would have to make sure that they had a cloak with them, which means there is something they are required to bring before they come to the achievement run. So again, to understand some of these achievements, the best way to do it is to actually run these events yourself in advance, if you can. With the old dungeons, it's easy. Just enter them, go and do the boss fights, try out the achievements, learn where markers and things like that are, so that you can get a good understanding and more clarity for when it comes to the actual fight. For the people that can't manage to do the runs themselves, or if you're trying to do an achievement run for higher content, the best thing to do is to either do a raid finder and get a group together yourself through raid finder to not necessarily do the achievements, but to just do the raid, to learn the fights, to learn the mechanics of the bosses that you have to pay attention to and watch out for, or even just organize a small test group. Get 3 to 4 people together to run one of these and do a test run of these achievements. See which is difficult, see what you need to look out for. And then failing that, if you can't do a test yourself, then the best thing to do is to look at videos. Again, on Wowhead, if we go back to it, you can just look at these videos here. There's lots of different videos that show you how to do each of these achievements. You can even use YouTube and look something up on there. But the more clarity you have and understanding before you try and lead an event like this or jump in to do one of these achievement runs, the easier and the smoother it will be for the rest of the group that you're leading. Let's talk about actually leading the event now. So if I jumped into the raid, let's say I've now got a raid of 10 people for this achievement. We've summoned everybody, we're about to begin, we set the raid to the right difficulty, and we're running inside. As you can see, something's popped up on my screen now, which is this IAT tracker, the add-on that we're using. And it's asking me if I want to track the achievements for Firelands. I'm going to say yes. And you can see now that it's tracking the achievements as we run. It's actually going to tell me if we've failed an achievement or if we've done it correctly. And I'll show an example of that as I actually run this as well. I won't run all the achievements, but a few of them just to give an idea of how this works. So you've entered the dungeon, you've entered the raid, and now you want to just make sure that everybody understands what's going to happen here. It's very important to set expectations. When people come in, give some rules. Tell people what they can and can't do. Tell them that they're going to have to listen to you. Tell them that if you tell them to stop, they need to stop. Tell them about important things that they need to be aware of. Because if they don't follow your lead, or you don't lead them well enough, then you could screw up one of these achievements, meaning that people won't be able to get it. And they might have to wait a week or even a few days to be able to do this again. I'm just going to run to a boss fight quickly, and we'll do a real quick pre-boss fight what I would usually do. So an example of a raid like this, things I already know about this raid is that when we kill trash, so this is from the research I would have done beforehand, when we kill trash, a boss is going to appear, the Shanox boss, and I don't want anyone to pull it. So I would let them know in advance, we can run through, you can kill trash, but if the boss spawns, don't aggro it. For the purpose of this video, let's go over to Benthixler. And we'll cover that achievement. So as a group, you clear through the you clear through the raid, you're clearing the trash, you're engaging as you're going along. And you can let people know that you're coming up to where the achievement is. I like to make sure that I kill any trash that I aggro, because I don't want to bring extra adds into fights just in case it screws up an achievement or causes problems later down the line. So another tip is to always make sure that you're not in combat before you begin a fight. Now as you can see, just entered the boss area, and we've had a message that's popped up here in our chat from the IAT. It's telling me who needs the achievement, and it's telling me what the achievement is. Now, since it's only me in the party, I don't need it. It's saying no one needs it, but it would give me a list of names of people that would. So, now we're onto a pre-fight explanation. Whenever you get to the beginning of one of these achievements, you want to stop everyone and just say, okay, now listen up. So there's quiet on the microphones and only you are talking. You'll explain to people how the fight is going to work, any abilities for the normal fight that they need to watch out for, and then how to do the achievement. You can also link the achievement in if you open up your chat. So we'll go into the raid chat, and I actually click on the instance achievement tracker and go to the achievement that I need, which is this one. And now I can either output players or output the tactics. Personally, I prefer to speak the tactics and have everybody on voice so I can make sure they understand, as it's easier for people to listen than it is for to read necessarily. And that way I can answer any questions. So I would always output the players just to see who needs it. And then that way they know the achievement as well because they can click on it. Then I would go through the achievement. So we've explained what to watch out for. With this particular fight, the main thing is that the boss is going to go up in the air, as we did in our research. We're going to have to kill one particular spider so that we can use the web to get up to the boss. Once we've climbed up that web and we attack the boss is going to come back down. I would explain to everybody that they all need to get a hit on this boss so that they don't miss out an achievement. So I only want them to auto-attack the boss at the very beginning. And then if there's anything else that I need to say, or if I needed to point out particular things, I can use the raid markers, which you can't actually see at the moment because I'm not in a party. But I would put a raid marker out on the ground that would appear, say, over here. I could put down a green triangle that would suggest that they need to focus on this area if the boss was to move there. I can put markers on the bosses and the ads by right-clicking them, putting a skull on them, for example, so that it stands out, they know who to kill or they know who to watch out for. Once I've explained everything, I'll do a ready check. So again, on the raid party frames, I would click ready check and just say, if you understand, please press yes. If you don't understand or you want me to repeat anything, press no. And that's allowing me to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that nobody's confused about something, because if one person is confused and doesn't do something right, they might miss out on the achievement, or it might mess the achievement up for everybody else. So the main thing of actually leading the raid during the fights is to watch out for what's going on. Let's start this fight and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to run in and I auto attack the boss. So straight away the boss has disappeared. Now I'm going to have to make sure that I understand exactly where everybody is during this fight, if it was quite an intensive fight. Because if someone is attacking the wrong spider, then it could screw up the achievement. So I would say no one attack anything. Or if I see a hunter with a pet that's attacking something, I would say stop attacking stuff. You're watching out for abilities. If this was a damaging ability here, I would say make sure you avoid the orange stuff. If a particular enemy was doing a cast, then I would say interrupt that cast if need to. It's just about micromanaging what's going on and making sure that no one does something that they're not meant to do. Keep an eye on boss's health, keep an eye on friends' health, on ads' health. You're micromanaging the fight. So now let's get this boss down. As you can see, again from my research, I know that if I attack one of these drones, if I attack one of these spinners, they're going to drop a web. I can right click on that web, get up to the boss, and attack the boss. And because of my bleed, that boss is going to come down and die. Now that would have been the achievement complete, because as the achievement said specifically, I didn't need to, I had to just kill the Cinderweb drones while they're atop of the web cabinet. Now I didn't kill any drones at all, so therefore it wouldn't have affected the achievement. We just did what we needed to do. The main thing I would say about doing achievement runs is being confident giving orders. You need to be able to take charge. You need to be able to give instructions. You need to be able to tell people when to stop and not be afraid of telling them when to stop. Because if you are too nervous or too scared or you're not loud enough, there's a bigger chance that something's going to go wrong. And the best way to build up that confidence is through your research. Having the clarity, having the confidence to actually tell them what to do, being fully aware yourself of how these fights are going to play out so you can visualize it in your head as it's going on, so you know what to watch out for, so you know how to do the actual achievement specifically and what to do when. As long as you have that clarity, you'll gain that confidence. And then finally, the last thing you really have to bear in mind when it comes to achievement runs is what to do if something goes wrong. Let's say we were doing this boss fight. Someone accidentally kills a spider. I would get a red notification that came up saying the achievement has failed, because that's what the IAT tracker does. Or if I notice that someone does something wrong, immediately I would say stop. Stop all damage. Turn all pets off. Everybody just stand still. I'd assess the situation and I'd decide the best way to continue. If we kill the boss, the achievement's over, which means we might have to wait a week to come back. So ideally we don't want to do that. The best thing to do is to try and wipe the raid, but on a low dungeon like this, it's not always possible. So in a situation like this, if I can't wipe the raid, I would look to see if we can get away. If there's no barrier, I'd tell everyone to run out until the boss fight resets. If there's absolutely no other way to redo this achievement, I would try, if I can't run out and I can't die as a character, then I would try and get people to halfstone. So what I'd usually do is have a class that can feign death, or if you're on alliance that can do shadow meld, or something that gets you out of combat. I would have them take up the aggro for the rest of the ads and every damage, get everybody else to halfstone out, and then get that person to feign death or to escape through whichever ability they have. Failing that, the final thing that I would do is to kill the boss and then try to rerun just this boss on a different difficulty, as long as the achievement allowed for that. Otherwise, that's the achievement failed, and you would have to organize another run in order to get it again. You just need to know when to stop doing everything, because sometimes things are going to go wrong, and as long as you can have some kind of a backup plan to get away with, and you're not just relying on things going smoothly, it's going to make the run much better for everybody, because you can try and get all these achievements in one go, which is the ideal situation. That's pretty much it for this stream. It's a nice short one, a nice short teach it. We'll turn it into a video. We'll do some editing. But I hope you've enjoyed it. And obviously, if there's any questions, feel free to leave them on the comments of the video. And check out our community as well. If you'd like to get a 2-week free pass on our community, you can head to this link here. And this will basically give you, so this is on Twitch, but this will basically give you a 2-week visitor pass to try out the community, come to our events, see what they're about, and get involved and see if the community is right for you. Thanks for watching again, and we will be back with our next event, which will be Twisting Corridors, big group, or tomorrow at the same time, which is 8 o'clock, well, basically 8 o'clock UK time, 9 o'clock Central European time. I'll see you again soon.